Okie doke, so this is kind of the first step of the processing of the fruit. I take a nice piece of ripe fruit and realize that this one is a bad one, so I throw it away. And I take a nice piece of ripe fruit, put it in there, throw the pit in there. So over here is a compost bag. I'm not going to put the bag in the compost. I'm going to put the contents of the bag in the compost because that's great compost. These stones, these pits, these are actually, they have little almonds in them, which are safe for humans, for this species of apricot. And they're also safe for squirrels and other critters that want to eat nuts. So this is the basic step for processing. Nothing goes to waste because the earth gets to claim and bugs and critters get to claim what goes outside. And so that's the processing. What I'm putting this in here is a solution of basically cold water and a little bit of lemon juice, not for flavor, but to keep color and to get them nice and clean. What you have here is the next step. I'm going to chop these fruit pretty finely. I don't care about too fine. This is right out of the bowl I was just making, right there. Just give a good choppings. I like the different texture. It makes for a more interesting and flavorful jam, in my opinion. I may be talking nonsense, but there we go. The goal is 6 cups of finely chopped fruit in that thing, and then that's per batch. So I'm actually going to chop 18 cups of this stuff because I'm making 3 batches. Okay, and that makes 18 cups of chopped apricot, which makes the 3 batches I'm going to make in this giant pot. Let's get it done. Oh yeah. I also have 3 packages of Sure-jell mixed with about a cup or so of sugar. Get it nice and dispersed. That goes in immediately. That's fun, right? Yeah, and you know what this bowl is full of? 4 cups of sugar per 6 cups of fruit. That's crazy. You add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice per batch, so that's 6 tablespoons of lemon juice to keep the color and to give it a little bit more tang. And then we're just going to heat it, and it's going to get real hot. Okay, I put a little dash of salt in there for flavor. And some people will put like a tablespoon of butter in to keep the froth down. I don't mind the froth. I use the froth to eat it because it's delicious. Also, I like to keep this dairy-free for the people who have dairy issues. The initial mixture with the fruit and the pectin and lemon juice and a little bit of sugar come to a boil. So now, and I was stirring occasionally. So now I'm going to add all of the sugar bit by bit, about a third at a time. Stir it in. Once it's all stirred in, I will be stirring constantly so it doesn't burn, and then bring it to another boil. And that boil is going to last about 1.5 minutes. I like to do a little extra boil like that for to help it set well. Okay, we have a boil. It's not quite the rolling boil I'm looking for, but I started the timer at 2 minutes right now. I've got a glove on because I am really close, and I'm going to actually be moderating the heat pretty regularly here. I don't want it to overflow. I might even turn it off because that's going to want to overflow as the foam gets higher. There's that rolling boil. Yikes! Okay, just real quick, skimming most of the foam off the top for later use on like ice cream or just to dip or to just eat because it's delicious and tangy. Alright, here's where we keep it mixed real nice and we start to scoop. These are pints, so it's going to take about 3 of these scoops. And you fill it to within about 1/4 inch, no more than 1/2 inch of the top of the jar to keep that head space proper for proper preservation. Okay, important step is I'm going to use extremely hot water to clean the rims of each of these jars because nice clean rim means a nice seal. This one I'm not going to seal. That's going in the fridge for sampling later. I already sampled it a little bit. It's delicious. Cleaning all the rims. That way I can put the lids on and they will seal properly. I double checked all the head spaces. They're about 1/2 inch. That is about right so that you have enough space for them to expand a little bit while processing, and then not too much space for weird air stuff to get in there. That's real scientific, I know. Anyway, the cleaner the better on this rim. I'm going to come back and do it again. So we are almost already done with putting these on. Quick note is that never use a used lid when trying to seal freshly canned fruit or any other thing. Always a brand new one. Never been used before. because when you use the used one, it won't seal as much as you think it is, and that will introduce all kinds of things, such as botulism, and so on. That's all of them. Now it's time for lids. Ooh, let's speed this part up, shall we? Okay, so fun fact, leaving these here would actually, they would soon start sealing. You would hear it pop, pop, pop. And that's just fine if you're going to eat them pretty soon, maybe within a year or so. We are very careful in our home because we actually preserve things for up to a couple of years. And we want to make sure, absolutely certain, that we're not killing ourselves by doing dumb things. So I'm going to process them in boiling water now. Okay, some tidbits about processing is I lower them in pretty slow and I put the temperature on really low. I don't want to be too violent with my jars. This helps them accustom. At the bottom of this I have a couple things to keep them from the actual surface, bottom surface of the pot, because I don't want them being bounced around by the bubbles. Okay, so let's do this. And this grabber is readily available at most stores, actually, particularly most canning stores and things like that, like an IFA. Or the quicker you go from filling and putting lids on to getting them in the pot for preserving, processing is a better way to call that, the better, because the jam is nice and hot, and that way the temperature differential isn't a big deal. I'm using just a giant pot that I got for camping. We make stews and soups and boil a lot of water in this thing. It's pretty great. And typically I'll lose a jar or two each time I preserve, but it's kind of the price you pay. One just fell over. I'm going to try to bring it back up with my tongs. I'm doing this outside because it puts out a lot of heat as it's heating and as it's boiling. It wants to keep falling. I'm having to jog it up so that I can keep the heat out of my house, because it's flipping summer, guys. It's summer. Alrighty, I've got most of them in there. I'll do another batch. They're going to process for 15 minutes at a boil, and then I'll take them out and they'll seal, and I'll show you that and when that's done. And that's 15 minutes, so they're coming out. Pour some of the water off the top, put them in the box. That's pretty much it. I try to take these out in a way that will not let them fall down. It's harder than it looks. Harder than maybe one of these days I'll get smarter than it. I don't know, man.